All right. All right. I apologize. I'm on a couple of minutes late, but I'm here. So I am going to, while I'm waiting for people to come on, I'm going to share and and when you come on, if you would like, I would like you to subscribe, like, and share if you would, please. So let me see here. I am going, here we go. Here we go. I have this glare on my glasses, which I actually hate with a passion. But anyway, we're going to share. Oh, well, I wanted to share. Oh, and my messenger. Give me a second here while I'm waiting. Oh boy, me and this computer. There we go. There we go. All righty. All right, give me a couple minutes. I am sharing. Oh, okay. Okay, there we go. There we go. All righty. I was trying to share to a couple people while I'm waiting for people to come on. One of the things I'm gonna do while I'm waiting for people to come on, I'm gonna have to stop playing a little music, so I won't just be sitting here like, waiting for people to come on. Which that is so silly. Again, my name is Annette L. Anderson, and this is TNT. Tuesday Night Talk, and this is where we take flight and soar. We speak, orate, articulate, and reverberate. And when you come on, please, if you would subscribe, like, and share, I would appreciate it. In fact, let me put the banner up so you guys can see that. Haven't done that in a while, but that's my banner down there, and it says subscribe, like, and share. I'm getting pretty good with this now. I'm getting pretty good. So let me see. Hey, Miss Angela. Girl, happy Tuesday, child. Yes, yes. It's good to be alive and being the one. What they used to say in the church? Being the number one more time. So thank you so much for sharing. So I'm just waiting for a couple people to come on, and then I'm going to get going and talk about some things that I want to discuss tonight. Like I said, my name is Anna L. Anderson. This is TNT Tuesday Night Talking. This is where we take flight and soar. We speak, orate, articulate, and reverberate. We talk about a host of things. We talk about what's going on in the community. We talk about what's going on in the world. So often, whatever I talk about, I always try to make sure that scripture is involved. That's very important to me because that's my life. And we talk about a host of other things. Sometimes I have guests on to share their life. I call that Testimony Tuesday, where I would bring in someone to just share their life and where God had brought them from. Because oftentimes we look at people and it looks like they have it all together, like everything is wonderful, but we don't know their story. We don't know what it takes to be them. That's why it's so important that we don't covet somebody else's anointing or life, because um, their life may have been something that you couldn't walk through. There are some people's stories I have heard, and you look at them like, my God, how did they survive that? So many times we see people who have survived some horrific things, and when you look at them, and they don't look sad. They don't hold their head down, anything. They just walk through it. And so I do Testimony Tuesday, and I also like that because that's a time of testimony. I knew when I was growing up, we had testimony services, and we will have it usually on New Year's Eve, and you can pretty much, like I often say, you can pretty much know what they're going to say. But as I get older, I come to appreciate. Hey, Virginia, I come to appreciate the church of old, because when we were younger, we would sit on the pews and snigger. Of course, you better make sure your mama or grandma didn't see you, because you really were gonna get it then. But we would laugh. But now I'm older, I really understood what they were saying. They may not have been as learned as we are. They may not have been able to articulate a particular way, and we would laugh uh, and make fun. But what they were telling us, I start looking back over my life, I was thinking like, no, they were telling us, look what God had brought me from, and if you continue to live, you're gonna have a story. I mean, because I don't care who you are, you got a story. Some things that even in my own life, God brought me through. And so when I come on this particular platform, and I'm on several platforms, but when I come on here, I really try to share um, my life, share my story. I try to hopefully push people into destiny because I understand so many people have been born to do certain things, and a lot of people are going to die with that thing not being fulfilled. And so when I come on TNT SOAR, I come on to hopefully encourage you to pursue your dreams and your passion. I don't care how old you are, and that's the trick of the devil. He'll tell you, you're too old. Oh, you can't do this. Oh, you can't do that. Oh, you don't have the money. That's the trick of the devil. It really is, because if God have given it to you, it will come to pass. But on the flip side, there's some work to be done. You're just not going to wake up one day and everything have fallen into place. That's just not the way it is. And even if you listen to some of the stories that people have come on this particular platform and share with us, you'll be surprised. Like, wow, you did that. You did that too. And so we limit ourselves. We tell ourselves that, oh, because you're black, oh, because you're white. We always got a story. There's always a story, but we all have a story. And if you talk to people who have quote unquote made it, as we view as made it, you'll be surprised how many times they wanted to give up. And there were probably been times where some of them just said, you know what, that's it. And, they said, I'm not going to go any further. And they put it down, but then they came back. And so I just want to encourage you. This road can be long. It can be lonely, because sometimes you've been called to do something. It may be only you. I've come on here and just be me. So I just come on and I just talk and say what I have to say. Because one thing I love about technology, even if people don't come on tonight, they can always go back and view it. These videos stay up. They stay up. And so I'm so glad for that. And also I'm so glad for you guys that's on here tonight. I appreciate it. I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate you supporting me, because I know it's Tuesday night, it's after 9 o'clock. And a lot of people, that if you got kids or whatever going on in your home, a lot of people, especially with the time change, people want to, relax after they've done everything they had to do during the day. But I just chose this time. It seems to work better. And I even asked a couple of people, it seems to work better that we come on, because there's so much that's going on. And I often say, whatever you need, if this is not the platform, that's fine. But there's so many other wonderful, wonderful teachers and preachers and motivators that's out there. The key is to find one that suits what you're looking for. There's a couple of people that I watch. Even today, I try to watch some people, because there's so many wonderful men and women, and everybody's not preachers per se, but there are a lot of people who have a story. Sometimes a story, because that's all a preacher is, a storyteller. What they do is they read the story and they bring it to you in the best way they know how. And what it does is it invokes you, or it causes you to think like, wow, I never saw it that way. Because I don't know how many times I've gone to church and I've said it like, wow. And so many times those sermons or those talks, motivational time, have inspired me to go another further, as we used to say, go another further. And it encourages me, because like I said already, it's lonely sometimes. You try to do the best you can, and you try to bring what you have. Even and let's say that even for people who have large platforms, trust me, it's not always easy for them. Yeah, they may have the people, but listen, you don't know nobody's struggle. I was looking. I want to share this. I'm always searching the news. Sometimes news can be kind of horrific. Sometimes there's some good stuff out there, and sometimes there's some stuff that will just make your blood boy, like, they did what? And some stories, you really feel sorry for people, because people are really, really struggling. Just because you don't see them, and just because they don't, their faces are not all, balled up because they're going through. But there are people that are going through. But anyway, I read this one article about this principal in, he was assistant principal in California. I don't remember the actual time, but it was in California. And he came to school and he went in a room by himself, and he killed himself on campus. And so what they did with the students, they released them in no school for that day. Really, to be honest, they shouldn't probably have no school for a couple of days, because I know people are going to be traumatized when they see that happened at school. But the reason I'm sharing that story, that again, we look at people and we think everything's okay. We don't know their story. And lately, there have been a lot of suicides. There have been a lot of people who have lost hope. That's usually when people commit suicide, they lost hope. Because I've been there, so I could speak. I'm speaking from my perspective, from the place I've been in my life when I struggled in that area, and contemplated and even attempted to do some things to myself. But God spared me, thank goodness. But I saw that and I said I had to share that, because I want people to know that you have hope. Call somebody, call a friend. Sometimes maybe people don't want to be bothered, but keep calling. Do what you need to do, because once your life is over, that's it. There's no coming back. Whatever you've been called to do, there's just no coming back. And even in where I grew up in my hometown, just in the last week, and I come from a very small town, and just in the last week, 3 people that I've known have passed away, and probably more than that, I'm sure, but that I've known personally. So time is precious. Time is something you cannot and will not get back. So we have to learn how to utilize our time. I know sometimes we don't want to do certain things because we don't feel we have the support, or we don't have the know-how, or we don't have whatever we think we may need, whether it's money, or people that I want to say funny money, but people that really supporting us. You may not get that. What does that have to do with what you've been called to do? What does that have to do with your anointing? What does that have to do with the call on your life? And so many times we miss God because we're telling him everything that we can't do. Obviously, he knows that since he made us. So he knows what you can do, what you can't do, the things that that may make your blood boil, the things that get you excited. He knows about us. And the Bible talks about he knows every hair on our head. So it's not that he does not know, but I think, and when I started coming on here, and I want to really encourage some people, but I think it's so many times we look at what's going on now. So if you base your life on what's going on now, you'll never go further. You know what? Because now is just that. Now, it's not when. And so I have to live my life preparing for my win. Because if I look at my now, sometimes I would never think I would succeed. I would never think I overcome. Even on here, if I continue to look at my now, what happens is I can never see myself, a year down the road, even on TNT. I say, oh, I'm on TNT and nobody's coming on. Only X amount of people, 4 or 5. That has nothing to do with when, because I don't know what God is doing. And so we have to understand it, and we have to not despise small beginnings. And of course, anybody comes on social media, and I ain't gonna tell them, a lot of people do look at the numbers, and numbers are important because of this, how the system is set up. But you have to know that even somebody, I often talk about TDJ. Even with TDJ, he didn't just wake up one day and they had this mega church, and even preachers, even in my city, they didn't just wake up one day. It was a process. It was times he probably went to his little church. He's at church out his garage. At probably time, it wouldn't be nobody but him and his wife, and maybe a couple of people who really loved him. It was there for him. So so that we have to understand that if you've been called, and sometimes when you call, I say it all the time, it's a lonely road. I don't know how many times I walked this road by myself, and sometimes I say, wow. I tried, even with I love my husband dearly, but he works all the time. So, I've been saying, won't you get on? But, I mean, the man works, and he, sometimes he can't. And even my kids, but even with that, I know all them people love me, and I'm okay. I'm good with that. But I also know that I have to persevere. I have to keep moving. I have to keep pushing and going to the next level in my life, wherever the next level would be. Hey, Sharon, sometimes we get so tired and worn out, and we say, forget it. I'm not going to go any further. But what my job, my responsibility, the thing that God had put and placed in my heart is to keep encouraging you and let you know you have what it takes. But you got to take what you have, and that's the problem. You got what it takes, but you won't take what you have, whatever that little thing may be. It may be something small. Say if you've been called to work with elderly people. Sometimes and I know you want to open up this facility, and I know you want to do all these wonderful things. But what if God said, hey, start with your neighbor down the street? Start going down there and taking care of them and seeing if they need groceries, that kind of stuff. So you have to figure out what you've been called to do, and you have to figure out the steps you're going to make. Now, along the way, your steps, things will change, because I've changed. Even with the movement, we've changed quite a bit. So along the way, there will be changes, but the key is to get started. And something that's simple that it will make such a difference in the life of someone, that that whatever gift you have is not just for you. Trust me, it's for somebody else. If I come on here, I can go in there and I can talk to my dog. Really, he probably don't know what I'm talking about, but I have an audience. But That's not the audience God would have me to have, to utilize. So, he's called me for such a time as this. Like with Esther, such a time as this is the time. And when you look at the world, when you look at everything that's going on, you look at all the disappointments and all the things that's happening, oh my God, it can really it can discourage you. It can kind of knock you off your feet a little bit, but that's why we have to have balance. We talk about balance, finding balance. We talk about it on Friday nights on Clubhouse at 8 o'clock, finding balance. So you have to find balance. You have to find that thing that kind of secures you. And for me, that area that helps me find the balance is my relationship with God. It's the things that I've been called to do. Like during the day, I'm working on this and working on that, and I'm trying to stay focused and not get off focus. That's why a lot of times, especially during the day, I don't watch a lot of news because sometimes you hear the same thing, the same people saying same thing over and over and over. It's the right, it's the left, it's the Democrats, it's the liberal, it's Republican, this person doing that. And, it goes on and on and on. And everybody think they have the answer. But if you had the answer, if you really had the answer, the world wouldn't be in a mess like it is. You can only have an opinion. But a lot of times you don't have an answer. So my thing is, if you don't have the solution, at least be able to help with a solution, then stop talking about the problem. Because if you're not adding any value to it, of course we can't change what's going on in Russia and Ukraine and other places in our community and in the world. No, but what can you do? I see it so much. Some of the biggest bullies that I see is on social media. These are some of the meanest people that say some of the most harsh things. And a lot of times people like that because they don't have to deal with themselves. If I can talk about your problem and talk about how awful you are and talk about how you shouldn't do that and shame on you, then I ain't got to really look at the real deal. I don't have to look at myself, because I've read some comments and I've looked at some of the people post and I just chuckle. And I think, and I could just feel in the spirit like you're struggling yourself. But people are so mean. So what I suggest, this is my suggestion. They probably mean to me too, but I'm thick-skinned. I don't care. But my suggestion, if you can't say something nice on somebody's post, get off of it. What's the point? What are you proving? Because you don't know. See what you don't understand about a lot of times, not everybody, but a lot of people on social media, whether you like what they do or don't like what they do, whether it's ratchet or whatever the case may be, for some people it take a lot just to say, hey, I'm going to sit before this computer or my phone or whatever device I have, and I am going to pour my heart out. Now, some of that stuff is ratchet, I will agree. But then what I do, if I don't like it, I just leave. I leave because I don't know what it takes to be them. And I struggle being me. Being me is a full-time job. That's a full-time job just to be me and just to figure out who I am and what I've been called to do now. I'm unpacking some things about myself, but I have not arrived. And that's just, and I've talked about this several times about peeling an onion so many times. When you look at onion, it has so many layers and you take it forever to get to the core. Well, I am not to the core who God called me to be. There's still layers and layers that needs to come off, but I have been able to pull off layers. And I talked about the bully. It has nothing to do with what I'm really talking about tonight, but I talked about the bully because it's getting out of hand. Some of the things I see, I said, oh my gosh, why would you come on there, and curse people out and talk about it? One woman was in tears today, and I thought to myself, sometimes we divulge too much information. If you can't take it, you may not want to say that, because people gonna come for you. They coming for you. Oh, they coming for you. They can come for me. I don't get on here and talk about a lot of my person stuff. I do talk about my life up to this point because it's relevant, because what I'm talking about is motivation and how to help you get to where you need to be and to believe in yourself. And I talk about that is because that's where I was in my life. And even now, sometimes I struggle trying to get to that place of believing God. You know how it is, y'all. You've been called to do something, and you tell yourself, God, you really called me? Even though you know God called you, but you still struggle with that. When it said, yes, it is lonely, I look for support, but he keeps telling me to continue to push. That's right. Because you may never get the support. What if you don't? What if nobody shows up? That means you have to preach to yourself. And what I've learned, let me tell you something. What I've learned about preaching, over the years, because I've been put in a situation, not necessary put, I chose to be in a situation on Sundays. Anita, we preach every other week, and what I've learned something. I can preach without music. I can preach without an amen. So when you're put in that place, that means you got to have something, sound. I mean, no fluff. You can't. Ain't he all right? Ain't he all right? He died. No, no, no. That's not the kind of platform. And I don't have anything against people who do preach with music, because I prefer to have it. But the way God place God has me now, that's what I have to do. So I had to learn how to be secure in that, because I was so used to with music. And if I didn't have a music, I used to go out and preach a lot. I always took an amen corner, because I know if nobody else said amen, the people who were with me saying amen. But now, we don't. Me and Anita don't. We just have to be able to deliver the message. And our prayer is that we say something that will elevate people and get them to thinking. The key to this whole thing is that you got to begin to think. You got to begin to think. You got to figure it out. You're not just going to wake up one day and everything is just wonderful and great. No, baby. That's not life. And if that's what you think, you living in la la land, that's just not how it is. There's some things that you got to do, that if you're going to get to the next level. And listen, I don't care how old you are. Listen, I'll be 63 in a couple of months. I've just started within the last couple of years. I just really started living and still and walking in what I believe that God had called me to do. And so tonight, I want to talk about this, and I'm going to talk about this for the next 2 or 3 weeks of brainstorming. Brainstorming, because we got to learn how to think. We sometimes people react, then they think. No, you need to think, then you react. So we have to start brainstorming and asking God, okay, now I know you got me here. That's if you got a relationship with him, But I know you got me here. So what am I supposed to do? What is my next step? And I often, sometimes I like, God, am I thinking too fast? Because I'm always like, I gotta do this and this, and I have to really slow myself down, because I'm so excited about where I am. This is a place. Oh my gosh, I've never been in this place in my life that I know what I've been called to do. Okay, when I looked at the definition of brainstorming, it's to create process. It's a creative process that is used as an early step in generating possible solutions to a problem. Judgment is withheld to create a long list of ideas, including ones more creative or daring. So, in other words, it's saying this is a place where you begin to let your creative juices start moving. I can tell you, I can motivate you, I can tell you, let's go, 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 go. But then you have to get to the point that you start brainstorming. Okay, what have I been called to do? What is my passion? What is that thing that I like to do? Some people just do stuff so naturally, it just comes naturally. And some people have to struggle. And so that thing that comes so naturally for you, working with people, being kind, loving on people, that's a gift, because everybody's not kind. Listen, I know what I'm talking about. I worked 37 years where I had to deal with the public. They were not always kind, and neither was I, because I had my moments, because sometimes they got on my last nerves, But that I was not paid. I was paid to be kind to people, and normally I am, but sometimes, just sometimes. So this is so important, and I'm gonna, like I say, I'm gonna be talking about the different type ways to brainstorm, and on the next segment next week. But I wanted to bring that to you. Now, I saw a couple of scriptures that I wanted to share with you. One was Proverbs 19 and 21. We humans keep brainstorming options and plans, but God purpose prevail. And that is from the Message Bible. That is not from the King James Version. That's the Message. Say, we humans keep brainstorming options and plans, but God purpose prevail. So in other words, we must keep doing it. But at the end of the day, we must keep brainstorming and trying to come up with plans, write it down, make it plain, trying to figure out how to work this thing. But God's plan, his purpose for your life is going to prevail. But a lot of times his purpose don't prevail because we don't do what we need to do. We don't put in the work. We don't even sit down and think about it. When was the last time that you really thought about your life? Because for a long time, listen, y'all, this is what I did. What I did is I went to work. I came home. I cooked dinner. Took when my kids were little, took care of my kids, went to bed, got started all over again. No, my goal, my purpose, my plan was just to work and let everything fall into place. No brainstorming, what, and no thinking where I want to be 5 years from now. Is that let the day take care of the day. But we don't know, the model not promised us. Yeah, I know all that, but you still got, what if it is? What if tomorrow's promised to you? But you still got a plan. And so I would live my life. I just go through the emotions, come home and do the, no plan, no vision, no idea, no creative juices moving, no nothing. Where I'm gonna be, when I'm 65, what I'm gonna do when I'm 70, because I can I don't know, God haven't told me, but I could live that long. Some people do, some don't. But in the meantime, what am I preparing myself to do? Some of us retire, or we get laid off, or we get, we can't work anymore. And so what we do, we live our life waiting to die. Well, that's ridiculous, because as long as you're living and breathing, you still got purpose. Maybe your purpose is just that one person. Who knows? Maybe your purpose is to pour more into your grandchildren. I mean, there's so many possibilities. Teach them. Say if you sow. And I look and I think about my life. So I had a sister-in-law who was a seamstress. And I used to look at her, I said, oh, one day I'm gonna learn how to sew. I'm gonna learn how to sew. And she's going on now. And so many times I really want to kick myself, because I had a master seamstress that was willing to teach me. But I was going to work, coming home, cooking, going to bed, paying my bills, starting all over again. You see, no, there was no purpose, no nothing, no nothing. And so wherever you are in your life, I don't care what your age, if you 10 or 110, you still got purpose. I looked at so many actors, and some of them that lived for years, and some of them have gone on, but some of them worked up right to the time they left here. 90s. It just amazes me. James Earl Jones, he's what, in his 90s, and he's still around and he's still doing stuff. And so if you have that, you have that drive, but sometimes we have to activate it, y'all. We have to get to that place where, regardless of who does or don't, we will, we'll show up. Uh, Say this Saturday, I'm going to a funeral. I had said I'm not going to any more funerals, because I'm tired going to funerals. Thank God, God, thank you, God, I'm still here. So of course my sister texted me, and I said, okay, I'll be there, and I'll do what I can, because I know the family, of course. And so sometimes we don't necessarily want to do things, but you don't know the blessing you could be to people. Just the fact that you show up, just the fact that you say, I'm willing. You may not even be always able, but if you will and say, you know what, I can't do it, whatever that may be, but I will. I'm available maybe next time. You see, so we had to brainstorm. And then also in Colossians 3:23 said, whatever you do, work at it with all your heart, as working for the Lord, not for human masters. And that's the new international version. They said, whatever you do, work at it with everything you have. Pull it, say, you know what, God, I you gave me this task, you told me to do this or whatever, and I'm gonna work with all my heart. This is Colossians. So whatever you do, whatever you've been called to do. And so what I've learned, and even every day I'm learning something every day. I'm always in a book or on social media, doing whatever I can do to get as much knowledge as I can. But it's so important that we get knowledge. So important. Whatever you think you've been called to do research on it. Me and my daughter was talking about something last night. I'm gonna do some research on it. Whatever you've been called to do, see what other people are doing. I'm not telling you to mimic. What I'm telling you to see the possibility that it can be done. So what if somebody else is doing it? It's millions and millions of people on this planet. So you have that gift, you have that ability to be able to do that, whatever that thing you've been called to do. And so it's brainstorming, it's you thinking, it's getting ideas, it's writing it down, it's saying, okay, this is really what I want to do, but Now, what will it take? I know Shatondra was on here one night, and I had people put in the comment section, what would you like to do? What is it, that passion, that drive? And so many people responded. And, some of the things she said she wanted to do, which is possible. She wanted to work with people with mental illnesses, disabilities. That's possible, because she's in that medical field. That's possible to do. Now, you may not be able to do certain things overnight. I have my sister who's pastoring, and she's been pastoring. She just celebrated 5 years. So you can do it. It may be a slow process, but you can do it. You can do so many things. I mean, even my sister-in-law, Virginia, if you ever seen her house is beautiful. So, she like interior decorated. She may not see it that way, but that's how I see it, because I've been to a house beautiful. And so many things that people just do naturally, it could be such a blessing to other people. Sharon, she's cooked, she caters. And so these are the things, so many other things that people have been called to do. But then you got to start brainstorming. Okay, Sharon's a caterer. That don't mean she's just gonna just go cook a pot of food and take it somewhere. That makes no sense. No, she has to figure out, even because we live in a time now. Back in the day, you could cook from your house and you could sell, but now they really have kind of getting strict on that. So you got to figure out, get incorporated, whether it's LLC, how I'm going to do. Then if you're going to cook, well, of course you need the right utensils. If you're a caterer, then she not only caters, but she decorates. So that means she got to get decorated, take tablecloth. You see what I'm saying? So all of that is so important. And you're brainstorming, you're trying to, especially when your funds are limited. So, you go to Amazon or whatever you need to do, whatever that thing is, but you got to brainstorm. And like the Bible says, you got to work with it with all your might. And I'm telling you what will happen. When you really start working on what you've been called to do, and sometimes you may seem like you're all alone, but what happens is God will begin to send the people. You watch what I say. He will send the people. People will start coming to help you. And a lot of times the people you didn't even expect to help you. It's not people you didn't even expect to be a part of your life. Because sometimes the people you think will be there won't be there. And that's a lot of times that's because they're not designed to be there. And so you have to think about it, and you have to do what you need to do. You have to brainstorm and think about the pros and the cons, and what if I don't do it, if I can. All of those things are so important. They're so important that we do. And so the next two or 3 weeks, I'm going to go through the different steps of brainstorming. And I think it's so important, because when I was in college, I didn't know how to study. I didn't know how to do it. When I was in school, I was half listening. I didn't want to be in school nowhere. And I was telling Leonard, I said, I wish so many times now, because actually I would have been smart. I didn't know that. But you know what? The reason why I struggled, because I didn't put in the time. I didn't study. I didn't do what I needed to do. And now, I'm studying, and now I'm grasping concepts and stuff. But anyway, when I went to college, what one of the things they taught us is called clustering. And what that is, you will take one word, and then you write a word, and then all the way around the word, you will write another word that you thought pertained to that one word. And the reason why they did that was so you could get to used to taking words and making paragraphs. But they did that because they say you use that one word, and from that word you build. And that's how it is in your organizations, your business, your ministry. You start small, but you build. And some people have money, maybe they can start larger, but wherever step you are, but you still got to keep building from that. And that's been many years when I was in college, but I learned that, it always stuck in my mind about clustering, that I'm going to start from something. And I'm going to start with that one word. I'm going to start with brainstorming. But around the word brainstorming, I'm again to write all the way around the word idea, mission, desire, whatever I felt like brainstorming was meant to me. And then once I went around the circle, then I started around the other circle. And then you end up with a full page of stuff. And what you're saying is, okay, because of brainstorming, I have new ideas, I have business ideas, I have possibilities, I know my limitations, I know the do's and don'ts, but all of that came from the one word of brainstorming. And so because when I went to college, it was nothing like school. I thought, I guess they figured you should already know your English, your adverbs, your pronoun. So I didn't realize that I really wasn't going to be learning that kind of stuff. But the biggest thing when you go to college, well, when I went, was writing papers. Of course, yeah, you have to write your books and you have to study, and there were certain topics. But at the end of the day, you wrote papers and you took tests and you had discussions because of the fact that I was online. So, you could not, of course, discuss in the classroom because you were online. So they would put you in a cluster, a group or whatever, and then you would do the discussions. But then with all of that, it still built from whatever. Say if I was taking science. So because of the fact that I was in a science class, then there were other things I had to do. I had to get my books. I had to study, and I had to sometimes write 1 page, sometimes 5 page. Oh my God, 15, sometimes a doggone book, but you would have to write those papers. And that taught you how, at least that got you on the right way to, that's a way to start. That's what it did. It didn't necessarily teach you how to, but it gave you a start. And so I had all those words. And so I used, and I thought it was silly. I like, yeah, right. But then when I started to write, I saw how things started coming together because of that one word. I saw that word that was attached to all the words that I used to attach to the one word. And so the paper was really about the one word, but I used all those other words, and it helped me to formulate ideas and come up with a creative way of writing and that kind of stuff. So that's the importance of brainstorming and getting you where you need to be. Because I didn't want to just come on Tuesday nights, just say, go, go, go. You got what it takes. Yeah, but they take what you got. No. Yeah, I mean, I could talk all day about it, but there's some processes to it. And it's so important. And I'm not saying you have to necessarily do all of this, but at least it give you some other ideas and some other possibilities. Because what happens, y'all, we are so limited. We are limited by what we think. We're limited about where we live. We're limited by the color of our skin. We're limited by we're a woman. And some of that limitations we put on ourselves. See, it's hard enough. You already got some strikes because the world may see you how the world see you. I don't know, but when you get to the point you can't even see yourself a certain way, now you're in trouble. Because you're struggling enough, you're so busy. Oh, they did this and this, but how do you see yourself? See, because how they see me, that's between them and God. But how I see me, that's the difference. And I'm trying to see me the way God see me, and see me in a place that I can start building and believing in myself. And that was one of the hardest struggles for me to believe in myself. So we're going to talk about problem solving techniques, whether used by individual or teams, the process, the participants. What steps should I take? At least get what I learned in college is give me the tools, and then I'll figure out how to use them. And in some cases, give me the tools and show me how to use the tools, and then I'll use them. So it's so many ideas and stuff like that I really, really want to share about building and trusting. And I think that was one of the most difficult things, to really trust, to believe and trust in what you doing. And I think that is within itself is a lot. It really is a lot. It could be difficult. But I just want to encourage you. I'm not going to be on here very long tonight, but I'm going to start next week on some of the process because I think that's so important. And what I'm going to do when I do this the next 2 or 3 weeks, I'm going to try to get somebody on here next week so they can share their, how did they get started? What was their format? How long did it take them? That is so important that people know this is, Rome, like my mom used to say, Rome wasn't built in a day. No, it's a process. It's a process. And so I'm going to have somebody on here who have a business, who have a ministry, who have an organization. Well, it don't have to be 100 people. I don't care if it's 5 people in it, but it'd be so important that, I bring somebody on here and they could share how, whatever their brainstorming technique was. And they may not have even called it brainstorming. I don't know, but whatever it is, and that would be so good that I will bring out. I definitely will bring somebody on here next Tuesday. There's a couple of people, more than a couple, but quite a few people I know that have built build businesses, and they're still building, but at least they got it off the ground. See, one thing about a building, you can get off the ground and hey, I can build a house and put all the fixtures on the outside, but the key is, I always can start decorating it, and so that's what I mean. The business is built, they still decorating. They may have their furniture in the living room, but they may need bedroom furniture. That's what I'm saying. So that's all I really wanted to share tonight. But next week I'm going to start with the techniques, and like I said, I'm doing that because it's more than just talking about go to the next level. You got what it takes. Yeah, I can encourage, but also I wanted to just share some techniques that I think at least for critical thinking. That's what I'm saying. Critical thinking. How can I change my mindset? How can I get to the place that I'm not so, I don't know, I'm just got to do it this way. How can I get other ideas? How can I get to a place where I can move to the next level? And that is so important. How can I get there? And so many times it's so difficult because we know what we got. We know it's something. And like I said, I was talking to Yolanda, and we were talking about some stuff that we hadn't seen, but it may be out there. But I told her, even if some of the things we wanted us to, even if it's there, that has nothing to do with what you've been called to do. You can still do what other people do. Because plenty of people, like I said, it's plenty of people out. People, you have hundreds, no lie, I would say thousands of people on social media that's doing, motivation or preaching or encouraging or whatever. I mean, it's so many on Clubhouse. Let's not even talk about Clubhouse. It's crazy. I mean, there's so many people. So, and when you see these people, these are people who dared to say, you know what? Regardless of whether anybody support me, regardless of whether anybody like me, regardless if they think I'm ratchet, if they think I'm nasty, whatever, they dare to step out. They dare to say, you know what, I'm going to step out and I'm just going to see if I can do this. And this is what you see. You see so many people who, number one, dare to be different. They dare to step out, even though they know they may get negativity or whatever the case may be. And so you have to really sometimes drown out the noise, the chatter, the kinks, and you won't be, and you can't overcome, and you chatter that so much chatter. So you have to learn how to drown that out, and you have to learn how to push, go for it, believe, trust, and know unequivocally without a doubt you've been called to do what you've been called to do. And so that's going to be it for me tonight. Like I said, I was going to stay on. I stayed on actually longer than I intended to, but like I said, come back with next Tuesday with me, and we'll be on tomorrow night also on the same platform, the movement, and we'll give you some updates tomorrow on what we're doing. But thank you so much. I appreciate everybody who came on. Whether you came on and popped back off, that's all right. You came on, so I appreciate it. I love you, and my prayer is that you will be able to get to the next level. Keep pushing, keep believing, trusting. Listen, as long as you got breath in your body, you still got a chance. So many people are leaving here. So many people have already gone. And so I look at life like this. If I'm still here, that means he has something for me to do. And so I'm going to tap in. I'm trying with everything that I know how to get information out and to motivate people and let them know that they got what it takes, but they just need to take what they have and use it to the best of their ability. So my name is Annette L. Anderson, and this is a TNT Tuesday Night Talk, and this is where we soar. We take flight and we soar. We speak, orate, articulate, and reverberate. And just know that we're here. We'll talk about a variety of things about what's going on in our community, what's going on in the world, because we know the world getting crazy, and we know there's some crazy people in this world, even in our own country. People done lost their mind. But what we do as believers, we're going to pray for them, that God will deliver them, deliver those people. And also, God, cover us. Because if people acting crazy, that means sometimes they act crazy on us. And even as a saint, sometimes we have to do what we have to do. And my prayer is to God that he covers you. So that's it for tonight, but we'll be talking about brainstorming next week, and we're going to start dealing with some of the steps of brainstorming and have a guest on, and that guest will be sharing with you some of the things that help them get to where they are. Okay, so just know that I love you so much. Thank you so much. And that's it for me tonight, and that's it. So good night. I love you. Bye, everybody.